Hello students, in morphology of flowering plants we have been dealing about different parts of the flower and placentation, everything. In the previous lecture I told you about the seed, dicotyledonous seed and monocotyledonous seed. We have seen the diagram and structure, everything. For dicotyledonous seed, we saw the diagram, otherwise what is the structure of a bean seed we have seen. Similarly, for monocotyledonous seed, maize we have taken, and there what is scutellum, aleurone layer, coleorhiza, coleoptile, like that various points we have discussed. In today's class, let us see about some technical terminologies or technical description of a plant we are going to see. So, description of an angiosperm or technological description of an angiosperm we are going to discuss here. An angiosperm refers to flowering plants here. So, about the flowering plant, how to describe we are going to see. Suppose if you come across a new plant means flowering plant, you have to write about its characters and everything. So whenever we write the characters of a angiosperm, the first point we are writing here is about its habit we are writing. Habit. What is meant by habit means? It is whether it is a herb or a shrub or tree, like that we are going to write here. Herb, shrub and tree you might have heard in the lower classes also. Whether that plant is very small, a small plant with just millimeters or centimeters height only means it is called a herbaceous plant or a herb we can say. Shrub means it has got a medium height and bushy in nature. Tree means very strong and woody in nature. They will produce branches and strong stem, everything. So that is regarding habit of the plant. Whether it is herb, shrub or what are the tree, like that we can write here. Second point we can describe here is about habitat of the plant we can write here. Okay, habitat. Remember, the word habitat refers to living place of that plant is called habitat, living place. Where does that plant live? Whether it lives in the soil, that means a terrestrial plant we are telling. We have heard about aquatic plants, hydrophytes, like that. Xerophytes we have seen, which live in desert and all these conditions. So that is habitat, it can be called. So habit is different, habitat is different. After describing about the habitat, we can come across the root system of that plant also. Regarding the root, we have to describe something here. Root in the sense, we have to write whether it is taproot system or it is fibrous root system, we can write here. And in addition to that, we can describe that root also. Whether it has got nodules, root nodule, whether it is storing the food as a tuber, something like that. Regarding modification, we have seen some 15 to 20 terminologies. About them, any one point you can write. To which condition that particular plant, I am talking about an angiosperm. That particular plant, what type of root it has got, that we have to write. Similarly, our next point will be related to the stem, we have to write about description. Stem means, it is the aerial part we know, whether it is a weak stem or it is a strong stem, we are going to write here. Whether it is woody in nature, climber, or it has got nodes, internodes, that adventitious root, everything you can write in the stem actually. That becomes one more point with reference to stem here. Next to that, Leaf of the plant can also be described in this case. Leaf. When we come to the leaf, we can write about the leaf base if necessary. Leaf base means, you may remember whether it has got sheathy leaf base or pulvinate leaf base, like that. About the leaf margin, you can write some point also. Margin of the leaf in the sense whether it has got serrated margin. I told you in the description of leaf, serrated margin, smooth margin, wave-like margin, that and all we can write here about the margin. In addition to this, in the leaf itself, there must be one word related to phyllotaxy also. We know what is called phyllotaxy. Arrangement of leaves over the stem. Whether it has got alternate phyllotaxy or opposite phyllotaxy or otherwise world phyllotaxy, such points we are writing here. Regarding phyllotaxy, one point can be written related to leaf. Next to the leaf, there will be a point related to inflorescence also. So you are describing, after learning all the points, you are describing a typical plant, angiosperm plant. When you describe that plant, you must use these terminologies. You must describe them in this order actually. So first point will be regarding its habit. Second point will be regarding its habitat. Root, about root system, stem, leaf, inflorescence, we can write. When we come to inflorescence, natural grouping of flower is called inflorescence. We can write whether it is racemose inflorescence or it is cymose inflorescence, we can write here. So, about that inflorescence nature, we can write a point, that is whether it is racemose or cymose, we have to remember. Next to this, we come to the flower actually. Regarding flower description, terminologies and other things, I will describe it again. Just make note of these points, we will continue further. Okay, students, when we come to the flower of the angiosperm, again we can use different terminologies, different symbols and other things we are going to use. Because flowers are the characteristic part of an angiosperm. Whenever a flower is described, we can write some point related to this flower. First point is, what is the symmetry of that flower, we have to write. Symmetry means an imaginary line which can divide a flower into two equal parts. You know that bilateral symmetry, radial symmetry. Whether it is actinomorphic flower or zygomorphic flower, such point we can write. And regarding the flower, you can write another point related to presence or absence of bracts, you can write here. If it has got bract, it is called bracteate flower. If it is not having bract, it is called ebracteate flower. You may be remembering that point. Bract and bracteate, like that. Bracteate, ebracteate, bracteole and ebracteole, like that. Various terminologies we can write. Now, regarding to sexuality of the flower, you have to write one point. When we come to the sexuality, whether it is a male flower, female flower or bisexual flower, that point you have to write here. Then after writing it, we can come to the calyx, then corolla also. In addition to that, androecium we can write here. Then gynoecium, about gynoecium also some point we can write. When we come to calyx and corolla, you can write estivation of the flower also. Estivation. We have seen already about estivation. Valvate estivation, twisted is there, imbricate is there, vexillary like that, various estivations are there. So about them, you have to write that point related to that particular flower. Imagine I am giving you a flower means you can write which type of estivation it has got. Not all the four terminologies you have to write. When we come to androecium, you can write about a number of stamens and all. Even number of calyx, petal, sepal and all you can write. Trimerous flower, tetramerous flower, such things you can write here. Now here about androecium, about the stamen and all the points we can write. Fourth one is gynoecium. When we write about gynoecium, number of carpels we are writing. Monocarpellary, bicarpellary, pentacarpellary like that. In addition to that, in the gynoecium, we will be writing about placentation also. How the ovule is attached within the ovary. That is called placentation. Whether it exhibits marginal placentation, axial placentation or basal, precentral, parietal, that and all we can describe here. That is regarding placentation. In addition to that, whether the ovary of this gynoecium is superior or inferior, such point also we can write. Do you get my point? So, superior ovary, hypogynous flower, where the thalamus will be dome-shaped, we have seen. When the thalamus become cup-shaped, it will become inferior ovary. When the thalamus is boat-shaped, otherwise flat, means it will become a perigynous flower. Something like that. About that position of ovary, we can write some terminology. All these terminologies are used when we describe a flower here. Now, I want to introduce another point in this case. What if these terminologies can be used for description. In addition to that, scientists have discovered a special method for describing a flower also. They are using some symbols for describing a flower actually. A flower can be described not only with writing essays and other things. Even with symbols we can represent a flower scientifically. That type of symbolical representation of a flower is known as floral formula we are telling. We can use floral formula for describing a flower actually. Remember what kind of symbols we can use for describing a flower means. In a floral formula, when I am writing a floral formula of a flower, suppose imagine if I write a symbol like this, one circle I am putting, inside one plus mark I am putting means this indicates the flower is actinomorphic flower. What is actinomorphic? Radial symmetry. It exhibits radial symmetry that can be easily identified. Suppose if I put one percentage like structure here, instead of writing this plus mark, if I put one percentage like structure, it indicates zygomorphic flower here. Okay. So zygomorphic flower is represented with this symbol. Actinomorphic flower is represented with this symbol. Then I can write, if it has got bract, I will use the symbol called BR here. If I write BR, it indicates bracteate flower it is. Suppose if bract is absent, I can write EBR, I can write here. EBR, that means E bracteate, absence of bracteate, bract, it can be written. When we come to sexuality, we can write whether it is a male flower means this symbol we are putting here. If at all it is a female flower means we have to put this symbol. So one circle and above that arrow mark means male flower. Sexuality can be described either like this or like this. This indicates male, this indicates female. You know, in flowers there are bisexual flower also. Bisexual means both androecium and gynoecium will be present. Such a bisexual flower will be described with this symbol actually. If I write both arrow and plus mark here, it indicates bisexual flower also. So any of this symbol, any one of the symbols can be used for describing a flower actually. So that is regarding sexuality. This is symmetry, this is bract and sexuality. For calyx, we use the symbol C for calyx. Calyx is represented with a symbol called C, remember. If I write C in the floral formula, that indicates calyx. Now remember, in this C, if I put one's what is that number, numerical called 5 means, it indicates that calyx is, I'm sorry, 1 minute, for calyx, I'm sorry, we use the symbol K here, I'm sorry, K we are using here, K represents calyx. In the K or below the K, right hand side bottom, if we use a numerical called 5, it indicates there are 5 sepals present in that calyx. K5 refers to 5 sepals actually. These sepals are united, gamosepalous means I can put a bracket like this. This bracket indicates a gamosepalous condition. If at all I write K5 without any bracket, it indicates a polycephalous condition actually. So this K5 refers to gamocephalous. Okay, gamocephalous. This one without bracket indicates a polycephalous condition, we can say here. That is one way of describing a flower. For corolla, corolla is the next part of a flower, we can say. For corolla, we use the symbol C actually. Corolla is represented with a symbol called C. So K refers to calyx, C refers to corolla actually. Below that corolla or in the right hand side bottom, if I write the symbol 5 means, numerical 5 means, it represents there are 5 petals present in that corolla. Number of petals can be written as a subscript at the base of the right hand side base of the corolla C we can write. If I put one what is that bracket here, it indicates the corolla gamopetalous condition. Just like gamosepalous, there it will be gamopetalous. Otherwise, if I write C5 without bracket, that indicates corolla petals are free, polypetalous condition. Petals are united, petals are free. Petals are united means surrounding that number we have to put one bracket. Free means we need not put any bracket here. Okay. Next floral part is what? Androecium. Androecium is represented with a letter called A here. K refers to calyx, C refers to corolla, A refers to androecium. So, androecium is the next part we can write. For representing androecium, we are using the symbol called A here. Same point again. Whether it has got 5 stamen or 6 stamen, we are seeing. If it has got 5 stamen, we will write here 5 at the base of A. So that is indicating stamen. Stamens may be in one bundle, united, then we will put like this. Do you get my point? If I put a bracket here, stamens are united, remember this point. Then, if they are free means, we need not put a bracket, only 5 we can write. Next to this, gynoecium is the next part of this flower. For that one formula or one symbol we are using. Gynoecium is represented with G, I can write. So G refers to gynoecium. K for calyx, C for corolla, A for androecium, G for gynoecium. When we write gynoecium, we can represent whether it is superior or inferior. Please listen. If at all I put a G here and one line I am putting here down means it has got superior ovary. The ovary is superior. What is the meaning of this superior ovary? This line represents other floral parts. Above other floral parts, ovary is present means it is called a superior ovary. Suppose if I write one G here and above this one line I am drawing means not below that, above that. This indicates inferior ovary actually. This is indicating inferior ovary. Where do we find a superior ovary? Hypogynous flower. Where do we find inferior ovary? Epigynous flower. Suppose if there is perigynous condition, half inferior, half superior means I have to put one G here, both sides I have to draw the line. So both sides if line is there, then it is called half inferior or half superior ovary, it can be called. This is how we describe the gynoecium also. Of course, when we write the symbols for these floral parts, we cannot represent aestivation. Aestivation cannot be represented. We cannot represent placentation also. So this placentation, aestivation and all could not be represented here. This is called floral formula I am writing. Imagine now, just I will give you one example for a floral formula. Imagine. There will be all the symbols we can use. Let me rub this part and I will give you one example. Suppose imagine if I describe a flower with this floral formula. Imagine this point. We are this one and this symbol I am writing calyx 5 corolla, we can write 4 here, corolla 4 I can write, suppose androecium 6 I am writing. Imagine, just I am giving you one example here. If I describe a flower with this formula, what does it indicate? By seeing that formula, what information we can get here means it has got bract. So I am writing BR. It is actinomorphic. Actinomorphic means what? Radial symmetry. For that I put the symbol here. Actinomorphic. Suppose if the flower is zygomorphic, I could put what is that? Percentage mark. It is a bisexual flower. It has got 4 sepals. It has got 4 petals, 6 androecium or stamen, and bicarpellary gynoecium, superior ovary. Like that, we can make a condition. This is one formula, floral formula. What is floral formula? Symbolic representation of a flower in scientific description. For scientifically describing a flower, we can use some symbols. By seeing the symbol, we can say whether it has got bract or not. What is its symmetry? What is its sexuality? How many sepals they have? How many petals they have? How many stamens they have? Whether it is superior ovary or inferior ovary, everything we can get description. This is regarding floral formula. I will now introduce another idea about floral diagram. We will see through it after a few seconds. Just wait. Okay, students, you might have understood the importance of floral formula and the description of an angiosperm. When we write a description about an angiosperm, it must be having some point related to its habitat, root system, shoot system, then a leaf, inflorescence, flower, everything. When we come to the flower, there is a symbolic representation of a flower by using the floral formula. For one example for a floral formula, I gave you here. About from the floral formula, what are the things we can understand? We can come to know how many sepals are there, how many petals are there, what type of ovary is there. This is superior ovary because other floral parts are below it. Or the flower is said to be hypogynous flower, like that we can tell in this case. Now remember, even though we write this formula here, we do not know about estivation, we do not know about placentation. Even that can also be incorporated symbolically. For that, another technique we are using here. What is the next technique for describing the flower? I will explain you. A flower can be described with floral diagram also. So far I was telling you about floral formula. Now I am talking about floral diagram here. Floral diagram. Diagrammatic representation, scientific diagrammatic representation of a flower is called floral diagram. This is floral formula, we can say. Based on the floral formula, how to draw a floral diagram, how to construct a floral diagram, we have to see. So basically, some ideas I will tell you for drawing a floral diagram. Imagine. Suppose imagine, you know that a flower has got 4 floral whorls. So, let me draw 4 circles, imaginary circles like this here. Imagine there is a circle. First circle I am drawing here. First one. Outermost circle. Second circle can be drawn like this. Okay, it is an imaginary area. Just we are drawing like this. You may not be able to see, but remember there is a second circle. Third one. Okay, third one is drawn here. Fourth one is drawn like this. So first thing is, when we draw a flower, scientific description of a flower, not artistic drawing. It is a scientific drawing. When we draw a scientific diagram for a flower, we must first mention the 4 whorls here. Outermost whorl represent the calyx. Second inner whorl, second one is representing corolla or petals. Third one represent androecium. Fourth one represent gynoecium. So all the 4 floral whorls I am drawing. If at all it is a complete flower. If it is incomplete flower, it has got perianth only means I can draw only 3 whorls. Where calyx and corolla cannot be differentiated. Then we will come to only 1 whorl, only 3 whorls we can draw. If it is not having gynoecium means, again you will put 3 whorls. But here for this formula, I am drawing all the 4 circles. Why? Because it has got calyx, corolla, androecium, gynoecium, everything. So I am drawing all the 4 circles. Outermost circle represent calyx. Before seeing about that calyx, we can write it is having bract also. When bract is there in the bottom of the flower, we have to draw a structure like this. It indicates bract here. Okay? This indicates the bract. Let me come to the calyx. Calyx is the outermost one. According to this formula, it has got 4 petals only. So what I will do, this outer whorl will be imaginarily will be divided into 4 parts like this. First I will divide it so the diagram will be easy and neatly available. This outermost whorl I am drawing. Now remember, in this 4 calyx are there. They are not united. They are in valvate aestivation. So I can draw that one. How can we say it is valvate aestivation? Not by seeing the formula, but by seeing the diagram we can come to know. Remember now, I am drawing the sepals like this. The sepals are drawn like this. This is the first sepal. This is the second sepal I am drawing like this. Something like what to say, some half moon shaped structure I can draw here. Second sepal. They are simply, their margins are simply touching each other. Third sepal can be drawn in this manner. Its margin is simply touching each other. Fourth sepal can be drawn like this. Imagine. So 4 sepals we are drawing in this manner. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now by seeing this, you can get 4 important points or 3 important points related to calyx. Outermost whorl is calyx, so calyx. How many sepals are there? 4 are there, so 4. They are polysepal, they are not united, that is we are not putting bracket here. They are arranged in valvate aestivation because their margins are simply touching each other. They do not overlap. If they overlap, we will call it as twisted. So, by seeing this outer circle, I can tell how many sepals are there, whether they are gamosepalous or polysepalous, what is the aestivation, everything I will come to know. Okay. Let me come to the next point. It is actinomorphic we have seen. For actinomorphic flower, at the top here, no, you are putting one symbol like this. If I put one symbol here, plus mark, that indicates actinomorphic flower. Actinomorphic means radial symmetry. Radial symmetry means in any one of the, in a vertical view, it will give you 2 equal parts. So you can get what is the equal parts either by this way or by like this or here also. In more than one plane, it will give you equal parts. Zygomorphic means bilateral symmetry. Here you can get equal parts either in this way or in this way or diagonally like that you will be getting equal parts. Okay student, that is actinomorphic symbol. And I have to show about corolla now. Corolla is the second part I told you. In this second whorl, we shall draw the petals. Remember, how many petals are there? 4 petals are there. Those 4 petals I will draw like this. 1, 2, 3, 4 like this. These 4 petals, what one technique I am using here. Sepals started from here. Petals will start from the middle. From the middle of the sepal, we have to start the petal. So that it will be easy to recognize, you will understand that point. Listen, this is the first petal I am drawing here. For sepal, I drew some half moon shaped structure like this. For petal, I am drawing one triangle shaped structure here. That is the diagram for petal. This petal is the first one. Second petal I can draw like this. The center will be like this. Third petal we can draw like this. Here again the center will be facing here. Fourth petal I can draw in this manner. The second whorl is indicating corolla. So what are the points we can understand about corolla? Corolla is made up of 4 petals. 1, 2, 3, 4. They are arranged in valvate aestivation. That means their margins are simply touching each other. Aestivation we will come to know. And they do not, they are not united with each other. That means polypetalous condition. Polysepalous, for both I did not put any bracket in this case. Try to get this point. Let us come to third point, androecium. Androecium is made up of what? Stamens. How many stamens are there in this flower? Six stamens are there. How to draw that 6 stamens? Imagine now. In this 6 stamens, 4 of them are longer and 2 of them are shorter. Imagine. There are 6 stamens. 4 of them are longer and 2 of them are smaller means. We call that condition as a tetradynamous condition. Do you remember this word? We have described it already. Based on the length of the stamen, we will come to a condition called a tetradynamous. 4 will be longer and 2 will be shorter. So what I am doing for representing it in this third floral whorl, third whorl is representing the stamen actually. 4 are longer, 2 are shorter. I will put a shorter stamen in this manner. I will draw. These 2 are indicating shorter, stamen. Dithecus and the shorter stamen I can write. Where are remaining 4 bigger one? I will draw them somewhat inner to this whorl actually, somewhat inner. That means here one stamen I will draw, here another stamen, third one and fourth one we will draw. Do you get this point? 4 of them I am drawing in one circle, remaining 2 are somewhat away. That indicates 4 are one type, 2 are another type. 4 are longer, 2 of them are shorter. Tetradynamous condition. Okay, that is 4 plus 2. What about gynoecium? Gynoecium is the innermost part. It has got 2 carpel, united carpel, superior ovary. Gynoecium, dear students, I will draw it in the center here. This whorl indicates gynoecium. In this gynoecium, 2 carpels are there, I told you. This is one carpel, this is another carpel, we can draw like this. They indicate a bicarpellary gynoecium. So, you can get all the 4 floral whorls. Outer whorl is calyx. There are 4 sepals. Aestivation, valvate aestivation, simply over that touching each other, and they are polysepalous condition. Second whorl, pink color I have drawn. This second whorl is indicating corolla or petals, we can say here. Petals are 4 in number. They are also arranged in valvate aestivation. They are also polypetalous, they are not united. Third one, yellow color we have drawn, that indicates stamen. How many stamens are there? 6 stamens are there. 2 of them are outside. Otherwise, what is that? Didynam outside, shorter one. Remaining 4 are bigger one, longer one. That is called as tetradynamous condition. It can be called tetradynamous. Inside here, what do we get? We get the bicarpellary gynoecium. Superior, inferior, we cannot show in the diagram, but in the formula it can be seen actually. So, by reading both formula and diagram, we can scientifically understand about any flower actually. Diagram will tell you about aestivation and placentation also. Aestivation and placentation to some extent, marginal, axillary, everything. Here it is axillary placentation we can say. And in diagram you can come across sexuality, sepal, petal and every part we can see. If this diagram is given in your textbook also, so what is that? Typical angiosperm flower, mustard plant, mustard flower formula and diagram we have seen. Sashve anta antivala, that is called mustard. This mustard plant floral diagram I have drawn here. Mustard plant floral formula I have written here. Floral formula for mustard. Okay, sashve. For that, this bracteate, actinomorphic, bisexual, 4 sepal, 4 petal, no union, and 4 stamens, 6 stamens, tetradynamous condition, superior ovary with 2 carpel, united carpel. When carpels are united, we call it as syncarpous gynoecium. When they are free, we call it as apocarpous gynoecium. So, floral formula, floral diagram. Well, let me stop with this in this class. So, today's class, I told you how to describe a angiosperm flower based on our learning in the previous sessions. So, habit, habitat, root, stem, leaf, flower, inflorescence, everything we have seen. Then we have seen about flower, description of an angiosperm flower. Flower can be described with 2 techniques. One is by using symbols, another one is using drawing. Symbolical representation is called formula, floral formula. I told you what are the steps involved in writing floral formula. Then diagrammatic representation is called floral diagram. Here I draw the diagram also, drew the diagram and explaining you about various things here. 4 whorls must be drawn. Each whorl represent one floral part actually. So go through this. Let us continue in the next class. Some more points are there. We will see this later. Thank you.